Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Lisa Rumbo and thank you so much for sticking by to my video or to my channel. Please make sure to subscribe as you listen to what I'm going to be saying. So today I'm going to be gisting you guys how I passed my driving test in the UK. And when I'm talking about driving test, I'm not talking about the theory test. I'm talking about the practical driving test. Like, I should add this, how I passed my practical driving test once. I didn't do it like 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 8 times. I just did it once and I passed. And I'm going to be sharing the story of how I was able to achieve that result. So I'm going to go back to my background, where I'm coming from. So I learned how to drive in Nigeria when I was 18 years old, and I actually learned with a manual car. When I was learning with this manual car, my father actually had a car to give me. Like, he prepared a gift for me that I'm going to give my daughter this car when she's able to drive. So on one of those occasions, after I had come back from my driving lesson, of course, after doing the driving lesson, I did my driving lesson in ASO driving school in Abuja. After doing the lesson, I'll come back home sometimes and carry my father's manual car to drive. And on one of such occasions, I think I did something and something fell out from the car. Something happened anyways, and my father had to fix it. My father was very encouraging, super supportive. When I do something in the car, I mean, something gets spoiled, he doesn't shout at me. He didn't to shout at me. He will just encourage me and he will take it and go and fix. My father is so supportive. Shout out to my father. So on one of such occasions, like I said, I was driving the car, my father's car, to practice in our compound, and I did something to the car. Something broke. So I came back home that day and I was crying to my father. I was like, Daddy, I can't drive this manual car. I can't. Please let me do automatic. And he just told me, well, you're not ready then. You're not ready to drive, because I don't have any automatic car for you. And that was when it hit me, like, wow. So if I don't learn how to drive this manual car, that means I will not drive at all at all. Hey, that was when I became serious. I was like, it seems like in my country they say we die here, but my own is we live here. I had to learn how to drive my manual car. And so I just pulled through everything, finished my lessons, my driving lessons, and I went back to school. I think I was in 400 level then when I did my ASO driving lessons. It was during my holiday. And so after learning, I went back to school. I was in school. Mind you, I just learned how to drive a manual car in just like 2 weeks. I was in school, and then after some time, my father arranged for them to bring that car he promised me, that manual car. He arranged for them to bring it to me in school. So I knew the car was coming, right? But in my mind, I was like, I only used 2 weeks to learn how to drive manual. I don't know how this thing is going to be. But anyways, just like, well, let's do this. The car came. I started driving the car. Obviously, because I was a newbie in driving, I would make some mistakes on the road. Sometimes some people will insult me on the road, and I schooled in Edo State in Nigeria. You know how rough and insulting they can be. They will insult me. Sometimes I will cause hold up on the road. I didn't care. And somebody, when I brought my car to school, some people were like, you need to put L on your car. I was like, no, I'm not putting any L on my car. And my reason was this. I personally felt like if I put an L on my car, then people on the road will start to pet me, because there's something that happens when people have L on their car. When you're doing something on the road, they're like, no wonder, it's L. That's a learner. And so they treat you gently because you have L plate on your car. I didn't want that. I was like, I'm going to learn it. Whether I learn it by the hard way, I'm going to learn how to drive this manual car, and I will not put an L on my car. And so that was how I managed myself without an L on my car. I was driving my car in school and I became a pro. I used to drive so much so that my friends used to tell me that I drive like a man. Like, I would even drive my father's Hilux manual car at home, for those of you who know Hilux. So having this experience of driving in Nigeria for quite a number of years before I came to the UK. I never even thought about driving in the UK. And so I stayed in this country for about, I think, 3 years or 4 years before I realized that, Lisa, you can actually drive in the UK with your driving experience from Nigeria. For those of you who may not know, I'm from Nigeria. So I was like, wow, I wish I knew this. If I knew this, I could have been making plans to start driving right from the first year I came to the UK. Well, so that year, I think it was in 2022, I planned that, well, I'm going to start driving in the UK. Then, as God will have it, I got employed by a company that needed drivers. In fact, one of the criteria to be employed in that company was driving skills. And when I was applying, I just wrote it there. I know how to drive. I can drive manual, I can drive automatic. I can drive anything. Anything, whether it's trailer, train, pickup, anything, I can drive. And they gave me the job fast because I could drive. And the good thing was that the company had cars. They had company cars, so they would give us their cars to drive. So I didn't have to have my own car. All I just needed to do was to drive the car. So I was working for this company and I was driving their car. I was driving the cars for about, let's say, 5-6 months. This was in 2022. And all of a sudden, they sent me a message and they were like, oh, Lisa, you can no longer drive with us. And I was like, why? But I have a license. And they're like, well, you've stayed in this country for more than 1 year and you can no longer drive. So I didn't even know. All I just knew was, as long as you have your Nigerian license, you can drive in the UK. I didn't even know the rules around it. So when I now went to research, I now saw that the rule is that when you come to the UK from other countries that the UK allows their driving license, like for Nigeria, you can only drive with that license for 1 year, like within the time you come. So for instance, if you come to the UK rather in 2026, the only time you are allowed to use your license is between 2026 to 2027. Once you enter your second year, they would not allow you to use that your international license. I didn't know that. So that's how I stopped driving. But that experience, 6 months experience of driving that company car, really helped me, because it helped me to learn about the UK road. Because in the UK we drive on the right hand side, but in Nigeria we drive on the left hand side. So that experience really helped me to know what to do. However, it was an automatic car I was driving for the company. So fast forward to how I got my UK driving license. Because of this experience, I was like, okay, now I'm going to have to put in to do what I need to do to become a UK driver. So I registered, paid for my theory test, did my theory test in November 2022. And when you get your result, I passed my theory test once. When you get your result, that result only lasts for 2 years. Meaning that within 2 years from when you get your theory test result, you need to arrange to do your practical test and pass it so that you can start driving. If not, after that 2 years, that theory test result will expire and you have to do the theory test again. So I began to prepare myself for practical now. And 2023 came. I paid an instructor to teach me. I wanted to do manual because I was driving manual in Nigeria. And so the instructor started teaching me. Honestly speaking, I looked at it, I said, Lisa, the way this thing is going like this, I don't think you'll be able to, within a short time, get your manual license, driving license. Well, the whole thing continued. I was hopeful that I would get what I need and all that. I was not able to do another driving lesson until that test result expired. Until 2024 November, it expired. Nothing. And so I said to myself, enough is enough. I'm going somewhere. Enough is enough. One of the things that made me not continue my driving lessons in 2023 was because I didn't have a car. And when I spoke to somebody, I wanted to borrow their car to drive. They were like, oh, you know, you're not insured, and my work schedule, all of these things. And that was what just put me off. I was like, well, who is going to give me their car? Everybody's working. People have their lives to live. Who would allow me to use their car? So I now decided that, Lisa, you need to get your car. Even if you want to, yes, resit your theory test and prepare for practical, realistically speaking, whose car are you going to use to practice the things you learn from an instructor? So I said to myself, Lisa, you have to get a car. So I began preparing myself to get a car. Actually, I've been saving since to get a car. I've been saving since sometime thereabout in 2024, early 2025, I started saving, or maybe late 2023, but I know that I had intentions to get a car. So 2024, November, as the test result expired, I applied for another theory test. I went to do my theory test. I said to myself, I prayed about it. I said, God, help me to pass my theory test right now, this second time. And I even want to pass more than the result I got. Because the last result I got, it was only with 1 point that I passed though. And I just said, God, I want to pass more than what I passed in 2022. And then I went to write my test in December. I can remember very well, December 30th, 2024. In the morning, I didn't even tell people I was going for a test. I just went. I can be like that. I can keep things to myself and only talk about it after it has occurred. I went, I wrote my test, I passed. I was very happy, but looking forward to me passing my practical test. That practical test, because I've heard a lot of people in the UK say they did their practical test 5 times, 6 times, 10 times. In fact, my instructor did his own 8 times before he passed. And I was looking forward to it. I was like, this is my test. I have to pass. So, like, I have to pass. And I was like, 2025, we're hitting it. I put it on my vision board in December 2024, that in 2025, I'm getting my UK driving license. I was serious about it. I put it on my confession list because I take confessions daily. I put it on my confession list. I will pass my UK driving test at one go. So you guys are already picking some of the things I did to pass my driving test at one go. I confess that thing daily. I will pass my UK driving test at one go. So, like I told you, I wrote my second theory test in December 2024. Meanwhile, I bought my car in November 2024. Buying my car, like I said, I saved money for it. I had a budget and I wanted to do automatic this time around because I told you that manual, the way it was going, I looked at it, I was like, the way this thing is going, I don't think you'll be able to have your driving license early enough with manual. Manual takes a lot of time. And so this time around, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy an automatic car, and I bought my car. Even when I was going to buy the car, I didn't tell people I was buying the car. The only person I told was a senior friend that when I wanted to learn how to drive in 2024, early 2024, I told him, and I think he took me on one lesson, something like that. Before that, my first theory test expired in November 2024. So it was only him I spoke to. I was like, I'm going to buy a car. This is da. The day I was going to collect the car too. Or, investigate, or, is it investigate? What's the word now? The day I was going to inspect the car, yes, to see if it was suitable for purpose. I told him about it, and it was just me. I went there. My courage, some things I do, I'm like, wow. What do I even know about cars? I just went. At least I should have gone with a man or somebody who knows about. I just went, and I believed. I had faith. I was like, because I bought my car from a fellow Nigerian, and in my mind I was like, God, please let this person not cheat me, let this person not do me bad. And I just believe that I'll get the car, you know. And even when I was going to get the car, that my senior friend was like, hey, why do you want to get it? I said, sir, this is not the car we'll drive forever. Let me have this one first. It's just for now. I need something to help me to prepare for my practical test. Let me just buy this one now. It's just for this moment. I won't drive this car forever. I'll get another car, don't worry. So I got the car and I was using it for my... So let me not go too ahead of myself. So November, like I said, November 2024, I got the car. 2024 December, I wrote my theory test and I passed. I entered into 2025, I was like, this is the year I'm getting my full UK driving license. And so January came. I registered for practical test. My practical test was supposed to be in May 2025. But you know, something in me was saying, Lisa, fast track this thing. We don't need to wait till May. Fast track this thing. And so a friend of mine told me about an app that they used to get new dates. Testy, I think, yeah, that's the name of the app, Testy. She told me, get Testy, and I got Testy. I think I paid for it. I got Testy, and I started watching on Testy every day to change my practical test dates to match. So I did. I got a date in March 2025. I had not yet gotten an instructor to instruct me to drive. So what I did was that I had a plan. I was like, I've been driving in Nigeria for many years before I came here. I already know how to drive. It's not that I don't know how to drive. I know how to drive, but you know that sometimes the UK system can humble you. You think you know how to drive. But they'll just tell you that no, it's not the same way as it was in your country. Here is different. So I told my friend, I need an instructor. And then she signposted me to this instructor that helped her. That instructor helped her and she passed her test. You know, so she was like, I know this guy. He has been helping people to pass. Speak to him. Let him instruct you. So no problem. Very good recommendation. No wahala now. So I now contacted the man. I told the man, Oga, my practical test is coming up in May. Now, by this time, I've not shifted it to March. My practical test is coming up in May. I want to register for lessons with you and bring my test forward. And the man said to me, no, don't bring your test forward. Let me take you on one lesson first. When I see how you drive, I will not be the one to tell you whether you can actually drive to pass your test or whether you need extra lessons. Now, I'm going to share a secret with you guys. This is something that some people do. I'm not going to call any race. I'm not going to call any name. But this is something that some people do. They'll tell you that, no, just register 10 classes with them. Then they will not be the ones to tell you whether you're ready or not. And then you will not register for 10 classes. Then you'll be doing all the 10 classes. And then all of a sudden, they'll tell you you're not ready. You need to register for another 5. Okay. I won't say more than that. So, the man was like, no, let's go on a trial first. Then he'll tell me whether I'm ready or not. I said, okay. I thought about it. I said, but if I now pay and I keep doing lessons with him and he says I'm not ready, does that not mean I will spend more money? I looked at it. I said, this is how much I want to spend. I have £150. This is how much I want to spend on my lesson. Nothing more than that. So, it was after that conversation, I didn't even, on my own, I just went, changed my test date from May to March. And I said to the man, sir, how much do you charge? He told me his price, how much he charges per hour. I was like, okay, no problem. With how much you charge per hour, I want to have just 3 classes with you before my test. And that was what we did. I told him, my test is coming up in March. I want to pass my test. And this is how much I want to pay for the 3 classes. Obviously, based on my budget of £150. And that was what we did. We had 3 classes. The man is so good. He's a very good instructor, and he helped me a lot, showed me what to do. I did it. And then when it comes to having a car to drive, you know, when you want to pass your practical test, there are certain things that they require from you. Your tire depth needs to be, is it 1.3 or 1.6, something like that. It needs to be at the exact tread depth they want. There should be no warning signal on your dashboard. Everything in your car should basically work fine for the test. So my car that I bought in November 2024 had some problems in it, and so there was a warning signal on the dashboard, so I couldn't use the car. I had to borrow somebody else's car to do my test. I paid my insurance on the car, 1-day insurance, and I took it to do my test. Mind you, because I had a car, it made my lessons with my instructor easier, because my instructor would not use his personal car to teach. He wants people who have their own cars. So that really helped, because he would take me around in my own car. I'll do my lessons, practice by myself, go around all the routes that I need to. He showed me the routes where they would likely take me to, because my test was going to be in the morning, I think around 7:28 a.m., something like that. And in my own time, when I told him that this is the time for my test, I was like, I've never heard of that before. I told other people, they were like, no, maybe it's a scam. You know, you use that testy app, maybe it's a scam, like there's no test time like this. I was like, this is the test time. This is the see, when you're doing driving lessons, people will tell you a lot of things. I said, this is the test time. He said, no. Well, and I called the office, called them, whether it's DVLA or DVSA, one of them. I called them to ask, please, does any time, like, does this exist? They were like, yes, that on certain occasions they have that time slot. They don't always have it, but there are some days when they have it. I was like, okay, so I'm on the right track. So the long story cut short, because this video is now getting too long, the long story cut short is that what helped me pass my driving test at one go, I had my own car to practice with. 2, I already had driving experience from Nigeria. 3, I had confessions. I was confessing daily that I would pass my practical driving test at one go. 4, I had reference points. So there were 2 people in my circle who passed their driving test at one go. And is it 2? Either 2 or 1. Who passed? Oh, it's 2. Yeah, Sister Ife and Sister Uime. They passed their practical driving test at one go. And so I used them as a point of contact, as a reference point to say, this person and this person, they passed their practical driving test at one go. Therefore, Lord, I will pass my practical driving test at one go. I held on to it. Sometimes we are not able to get the things we want because there's no one around us that has gotten that result. When you want to get something new, look for people around you, or people outside, even outside your influence. They may be on social media who have gotten the result you want. You see, the fact that everybody is failing around you does not mean you will fail. Your case can be different. So that's the 4th thing that helped me, because I looked at reference points and I was like, these people have passed, I will pass. So I went for my test that day. My instructor was with me in the car. I won't lie to you that I drove perfectly. You know, there was a bit of, I was relaxed too. I was not tensed. But I got tensed while driving because I was overspeeding. So, example, there were places where I was supposed to be driving on 20 and I was driving on 30. And there were places that my instructor had not carried me to during our lessons that the examiner during the practical test carried me to those places, and I did not know the speed limit for that road. So I was driving less than what I was supposed to be driving. I think that road was a 40-mile-per-hour road, but I was driving below 40. And that just made me feel like, oh, Lisa, you have spoiled it, you have failed it. But God so good. The favor of God made that examiner to make me like to tell me that I've passed, to give me success certificates. It's not because I drive very well. I'm saying it again. I didn't drive so very well like expert driver. No, it was just favor. So, and what I learned from my experience is that it appears, now don't quote me, this is just what I think. It appears that when you do your driving test in the morning, your chances of passing, I'm talking about Swansea now, and I don't know of other places, but in Swansea, when you do your driving test in the morning, it seems like your chances of passing is higher than when you do it in the afternoon. Reason because when you do your driving test in the afternoon in Swansea, most of the times they will take you to a place called Britain Ferry. It's a place with massive roundabouts that can be confusing, and there are some streets in Britain Ferry that can just confuse you. They can take you there and to set you off balance. So I realized this, and I started telling people, when you want to book your test in Swansea, make sure it's a morning slot, because I passed my driving test in the morning. You know, I have friends who passed their driving test in the morning as well. And I think that if you do these things, you would also pass your practical driving test at one go in the UK. So with that, I've come to the end of this story. It's been a long way coming, and I want you guys to subscribe to my channel, support me, subscribe to this channel. If you got some tips on how to ensure that you pass your practical driving test at one go, maybe you've even failed, but your next trial you want to ensure that you pass, I hope that the tips I shared in this video will be useful for you. And yeah, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know if there's any other thing you would like me to talk about. Okay, all right guys, see you in another video.